Alright, let me just test the audio. I'm using my AirPods. Sometimes the quality doesn't come through well. Alright, let me just test the audio. I'm using my AirPods. Alright, that's awful. 1 second. Alright, that's awful. 1 second.
Is this better? Is this better? There we go, much better. Hello, Real Smurf. I've switched over to my laptop audio. For some reason, my AirPods give terrible audio quality. So let's share this in the Discord so people know I'm actually live. Then we can get on with the game. Oh yeah, and I need to remember to put the chat up on the other screen so I can actually see what people are saying while I play. So let's send that. Okay, looks like we're all set up. And let me know in the chat if audio goes out or there's any issues with it. Customize your chase. So I think 20 kilometers is about just the right size for the map. Not too big, not too small. You first person to watch the stream. Yeah, I think you got a little crown there, number 1 next to your name, so well done on being number 1. Let's just generate a random map. Just check that it looks okay. There is, it's not necessarily a bug, but sometimes the solver for the map can take a cornfield and just run it all the way up or across the map. So you just end up with like 2 roads with like a cornfield between them. Hello there. I don't know how to pronounce your handle there. It's like Nuso Fur. Apologies if there's some correct pronunciation of that, but not the easiest to guess. Okay, that map looks fine though, so we'll do that. I found the most fun chases tend to happen if I have quite a big range of cape and helicity. And the reason for that is that the tornadoes can really rapidly change size. So like you can be positioned for an intercept and then suddenly just like quadruples in size. So I'll show you what I mean. And I think I'll do this one with 2 tornadoes. So we'll hit preview and just see what it looks like. This one's got some subvotes in it. See what I mean? Like it disappeared and then just came back as like an absolute monster because it depends on the environment it moves into. Same as this, so if it moves up here, it'll strengthen. If it moves down here, it'll weaken. So there we go. This looks like quite an unpredictable chase. So let's go ahead and this. What features have I added? It depends since when. Since the last update, I've only been doing bug fixes. Since the last live stream, quite a lot. So let's just show them off quickly. Let's just drive over to a road. Alright, let's just park over here so I can show off some of the new features. I can't remember if I had precipitation in the last stream. One of the biggest ones, so we've got our reflectivity radar here, and also velocity. And we won't see anything yet because there's nothing forming. On the data page, you can now analyze your data, and I'll show that more once I've actually got some data. The biggest one's probably the probe camera. So once you deploy your probe, you have a remote view of the tornado. Oh, is there something forming there already? But no, I think it's seeing the side of the probe. So you can pan, tilt, zoom, get a good view of the tornado. Plus you can see the wind speeds your probe's recording from there. I try and keep that disabled while I'm driving around, just because since it's an additional camera, your GPU is now having to render twice as much. Will visible subvotes be added eventually? Yes, I do want to do that. I just need to figure out the best way. Just because if you look at like a multi-vortex tornado forming, it's not really a clearly defined shape. You kind of have these strands of vorticity which are kind of circulating around each other. They're kind of curved, kind of helical. So I just need to find a nice way to describe them mathematically so that I can render them. And once I've got that, then yeah, definitely. It's definitely something I want to have subvortices, and as well, which way am I going here? I need to head north. And I want to have like horizontal vorticity tubes coming off the side of the tornado as well. Right, let's... in terms of tactics for this game, one of the best bits of advice I can do is stay ahead of the storm. I think that applies in real life as well. Once you're behind the storm, it's really hard to get in front again to get another intercept. You've got to try and stay ahead of it. So let's zoom out. Are there realistic winds and storms? So realism isn't really the primary focus of this. So I have used... so to decide on how strong the winds are... wait, did I just see a dust cloud there? I think something might be forming there just ahead of us. Yeah, definitely. So I did look at some academic publications where I think it was Josh Werman actually. He created like a mathematical model of like the tornado wind speeds based on the center from the funnel, and using the Dow. So he got real wind speed data and plotted it and found different coefficients for. There's a formula called the Rankine vortex, or the modified Rankine vortex. So I used that with the coefficients he found in that paper, so that each tornado has a random wind speed, and then as you get further from the tornado, that wind speed will obviously decrease because you're further away, but the rate that it decreases depends on the different coefficients of that formula. So I have tried to have realistic wind speed as a distance from the funnel. Whether it interacts with the vehicle realistically or not, that's a bit harder, because if you look at the shape of the truck, it's got all sorts of edges and things, so I can't really do a fluid simulation on the truck. But I can simulate its weight and give it like a drag coefficient, so that based on the wind speed and the weight and size of the truck, it'll lift off the ground at a realistic wind speed. But it's not going to be 100% accurate to real life, because obviously that's just way too much to simulate. Well, I think we're lucky, and I think the funnel's lifting for a second, so that gives us just enough time to get ahead of it. Oh, look, it's setting down right behind us. Right, what I'm going to do now, we're going to switch tactics. We're going to get rid of reflectivity and use the tornado track. So we need to turn left up here and get ahead of it before it plants down again. Because let's have a look at the environment. Moderate cape, but it's going into a high cape, high helicity environment, so we can expect this to explode in size and strength in just a second. Right, let me just get my bearings. I've kind of lost track of where I am. So I can see the comments scrolling. I will read them in a second once I've got ahead of this, because it's going to put something down again and it's going to be much bigger this time. Right, let's turn right. I've got the headlights. Yeah, I do need to adjust the headlights. That barely makes any difference. Look, I'm toggling them. Barely makes a difference. And that's when will the game be released? It's already released. So if you look at the description of this video, there's a link on Steam to buy it. I think the Steam Winter Sale has at least today left, maybe tomorrow. It's 70% off right now, so you can pick it up for $3. So I'd suggest you get it as soon as possible if funds allow. So it's released. This is the... When you buy the game by default, it'll run the 2023 version, which is the version now released in 2023. This is the 2025 version, so when you launch it in Steam, you'll get an option to choose which one you want to run. Choose the 2025 if you want this version. So this is still not fully finished. I do want to have, it's called a vertical slice, so like have every feature I want in the game implemented, hopefully in the next 2 or 3 months, and then I can kind of polish it up and add more features from there. But I want to have like a playable, minimal, viable product in the next 2 or 3 months, if I can. Right. So we've got this other tornado that just touched down over there. I'm not sure which to go after. Let's strategize. So we had this one, and then it roped out. We've got this one, so we can either try and go off-road and get in front of it. It does look bigger. I reckon we'll head south, build up speed, go off-road, keep our momentum across here, and then go north. Because look at the size of that thing. I just got to be careful not to... This cell that I'm on is going to put down a tornado any second, so I've got to make sure I don't drive into a developing tornado. So it's a separate game. So, oh yeah, look, it's trying to put something down right in front. Right, let's turn right so we don't get killed. So the 2023 version's already released, so these are updates to the 2025 version. That is ridiculously big in front. So this is going to be like a standalone, but like it's a complete reboot of the game. Like I've completely redeveloped it. So all the updates I do are to this version of the game. I don't really have the project in a state where I can really do updates on the old version. I've kind of started with a blank slate, and all the future work is going to go into this version of the game. That is... I don't think I've ever seen a tornado that wide in the game before. It's coming this way. Let's try and get to this corner. Consider deploying there. Oh, I've got another stovepipe off behind us here. So, just gotta watch where we're going. Kind of in a really dangerous spot. It looks like it's curving towards us as well. So, let's just be careful. Right. Looks like it's curving slightly to the left. I'm thinking... Yeah. I think we'll take this road here. So if we go here... Well, we've got to be... Yeah. I think the debris clouds are really wide, so I think we should be fine for a deployment. If we deploy maybe a little bit further back so I can escape. But this is getting quite sketchy. And I can barely see either. Right. So one thing I've noticed when I've been playing this myself is I keep forgetting to switch on the probe. So there, we'll collect wind data. It's right on our heels. See, controls are inverted again. I still haven't figured out what the problem is with this. So yeah, I won't be pushing an update yet, because that got this weird bug that when you step outside the car, the WASD controls invert. Let's have a look from the probe cam if we can even see anything. It's just like a wall of black. I can't figure out, I did realise I'd had the reference set, so you've got like a player component, then you have like a camera root, then the camera gets nested under that, and I set the controller to use the wrong thing in the editor. I thought that had fixed it, but apparently not. Look at the camera. So you can see that stovepipe almost wedged there, and we've got this other tornado approaching now. So I'll show how we analyse data. So if I just hit analyse, it scans each of them, and every sample you get has a 1 in 1,000 chance of having an anomaly in it. Those are what you'll do to increase your ranking. So you'll move through the tiers of academia, so you'll start as a freshman, and then you'll get like your bachelor's degree, master's, PhD, and move up. So that'll unlock upgrades, and then the cash. Each of these has different values for each one you sell. Cool, so we're getting F5 samples, so that's good. I think the probe's actually in the center of the tornado right now. So look, we're getting 260 mile an hour winds now. Is this coming towards us? Yeah, it is. Let me just back away a bit. Let me just get to a safe spot, because this is turned directly towards me here. Look, the F5 spot hit our probe dead on, so that's good. Let's see if the control inversion thing's fixed. No, so pressing W is making me go backwards. But now it's fixed. it's as if it's as if it's fixed in this direction. So if I look at this direction, all the controls work fine. If I look in this direction, they're inverted, and if I look at this direction, they're offset by 90 degrees. Yeah, I'll need to look in the editor and figure out what's going on there. Right, this tornado's much closer to us now. That's not moving towards us as well, is it? No. Wall clouds and storm structure, yeah, I do want to add those as well. Wall cloud should be a bit easier because it's kind of just a tornado with the bottom cut off and a little bit wider and rotates a bit slower. I would like to add those at some point. It's just extra strain on the hardware. The next thing I want to do is graphics settings, because I'm getting a lot of people asking for graphics settings because the systems are struggling to run the game. So we will have to go and collect this probe. Looks like they've crossed paths. Yeah, I'm gonna say this is probably one of the biggest tornadoes I've ever seen in the game. Alright, let's go collect the probe. So I need to turn right somewhere. Oh, there's the moon coming up behind the debris cloud. So I've never actually, in all my playtests, I've never actually found an anomaly, so let's see if we do that for the first time on stream. Other features will be in the game, so I do eventually want to have it to be multiplayer, but in terms of in the near future I'm going to add an object scatterer, so you can see it's quite barren and it's cool to see things get thrown around. So what I'm going to do is have an object scatterer, so this is going to place things around like tractors and bales of hay. Sorry, the controls are all inverted again. And then like parked cars and things, just so as the tornado moves across the map, throws things around. Then I want to add towns and buildings and the ability, like sirens' ability to warn towns, have buildings get shredded and split apart into pieces as the tornado hits them. Like stuff to make it visually like cool to play. Let's try and drag this so it sits in the bed of the truck. There we go. Let's try and get ahead again. So let's see. Let's just try and head north as much as possible. So we've got two wedges on the ground at once. I'm trying to think what else I've got planned. Yeah, so the next thing is going to be upgrades. The button's been removed for now. It didn't do anything before. But I do want to implement upgrades. So we've got the probes, and you can sell your data and rank up. So the next thing is going to be upgrades. So you'll start off with a bit of a slower truck, a lower resolution radar. Maybe you have to unlock velocity, and then things like your probe sampling rate and things can all be upgraded over time. So the next thing is going to be upgrades. So you've got a gameplay loop, so you can come back to it and resume your progress. And the other thing was that right now this is kind of like sandbox mode that I'm showing off. What I want to do eventually is have like a weekly forecast. So it'll generate say 5 scenarios. So you'll generate your map, and then instead of just choosing the cape and helicity, it'll generate 5 scenarios with different ranges of cape and helicity. You've got to choose which day out of the 5 to chase on. Just so you've got a bit of forecasting in there, a bit of decision making before you jump into the chase. That one's just roped out, but it could easily come back stronger. something I've changed between this update and the last was, or this stream and the last, sorry, is that the tornadoes behave probabilistically. So before, if they're in a strong cape environment, they'll always strengthen and just get stronger, then stay strong till they move off the map and then rope out. Now what they do is they may go against the trend. Are we about to drive into a tornado here? So even though it might be in a strong environment, it may actually start to weaken for a bit, and then suddenly reappear and strengthen again. So it just adds a bit more unpredictability to the game. I think it's a lot more fun that way. Because for example, that's roped out, but look, it's still moving into quite a strong area, Felicity. So if it comes back, it's probably going to be really big again. So we'll kind of have to watch out. Alright, let's come back. It's just to our right now. So there it is. So I'm going to have to off-road a little bit, turn left, and then find a good point to turn right. But yeah, we're driving straight at it right now. And also one thing I can do as well is have a probe camera pointed at it. So while I'm driving I can have a second view of the tornado. But right now I need to keep an eye on the map. The road should be here. Yep. Let's go left, go left, go left, go left. Oh, another feature I want to have as well is when a tornado approaches a town, is you'll have like a pager or scanner which pops up showing like vulnerable locations of vulnerable people, and it's your job to drive over there, pick them up, and drive them to a safe spot like a shelter. So you'll have a choice to make between like trying to deploy or trying to sound the siren or trying to save specific people. Pretty much I want the game to present you with as many choices and dilemmas as possible, so every playthrough is different. Right, I think if we take not this right, but the next right, take the next right, then got a bit more distance to get in front of the tornado. There it is. Yeah. So there it is, kicking up a ton of dust. Which means you pretty much have to sit under the debris cloud to get a decent deployment. So let's see if we can deploy in time. When then will there be lakes? I've already got an asset which lets me add rivers and lakes. I just need to get around to actually designing them. I'm much better at coding than I am at like designing like features and maps. So hopefully, like I say, I want to have like a playable version with every possible feature in the next 2 or 3 months. So sometime between now and the beginning of spring, hopefully. Right, so position right under the debris cloud. Let's say it's curving a bit. Let's stop here and deploy. If I can. Yeah, definitely need to fix the controls. I'm glad I play tested this before I pushed the update, or everybody's game would have been broken. Come on, over there. Right, up and get in the truck. Right, I don't know if I need to reverse. Kind of in the... yeah. I think it got us. I'm just going to sit here till I can see what I'm doing. Where's the probe camera? Let's have a look. It's collecting F1 samples right now. Looks like the tornado's moving away, so we'll probably go collect it. It should be safe to collect the probe. It says it's just next to us. There's another tornado over there, but I think this is the monster to be on. Okay, if I get to the road... oh, there. I can see the little symbol for it there, lit up in the distance. Oops. Right, this reminds me of that scene of on Apollo 13 when they've got to fly the command module, but from the limb. So because they're kind of flying it from the back, all the controls are inverted. It's like left is up and right is down. And it's really tricky. I had to do that in real life, but it feels a lot like that because forward isn't necessarily forward. These controls. Right, how do I get in front of this? How do I get in front? I think we need to turn around and turn right, and then let's get some distance on it. So look at that, man. You can't even fit in the camera. So if we follow this road around, just to show you the plan, it curves around, then we can deploy over here somewhere. See if we can find an anomaly. I've not found one yet. No, still not. 1 in 1,000 chance, so it's quite rare. Even if you have 1,000 samples, there's still like a 30% chance that you don't see one. Where's this going? The debris cloud makes it deceptively huge and intimidating. So will tornado effects and tornado types be added? So I'm not sure what you mean by tornado effects. So what exactly are anomalies? So I've kind of left it a bit abstract. So the way science moves forward is that somebody discovers something that wasn't known before. So the idea in the game is that an anomaly is like a data sample which doesn't fit the tornado models at the time. So for example, there's a formula for wind speed as a function of distance from the funnel. So an anomaly would be a data sample which doesn't fit the current known understanding of tornadoes. So it's kind of left as abstract. It's just a rare event which gives you a data point that you didn't expect. That helps you advance your academic career in the game. Right. So down is left, right is forwards. Okay, let's not get picked up by the tornado again. Come on, lift, lift. Right, we need to get out of here because the winds are getting up to 100 miles an hour. I think it grips the car at about 120. And then particles. So I think what I'll be doing, rather than having particles, is I want objects in the game to actually break apart. So like the debris will actually be the things it picks up in the game. I do have, and it's very old, but I could reuse it, like a particle emitter using not shader graph. I forget what it's called. It's like a graph editor for particle effects. So I can add meshes, so I can enhance the amount of debris and things flying around the tornado funnel using a particle emitter. So I might use that because what I can do is feed in the wind field from the fluid simulation that's simulating the tornado and use that to actually move things around. So I can add additional things to it. I do want to add that eventually. For now, I just want to focus on having things in the map get broken apart and thrown around the tornado. Tornado types, so things like land spouts and twins and satellite tornadoes. I don't really want to do anything with land spouts. I just want to focus on actual real tornadoes. But I think is this moving towards where? Oh yeah, I'm still in the path. I think I could add satellites. And I do want to add multi-vortex tornadoes eventually. So I'm just concentrating here to get out of the way of this. Just ordinary, so things like stovepipe, elephant trunk, wedge. So right now the way it randomly generates them. You can get anywhere from a rope to a stovepipe to a wedge. Elephant trunk's a bit more difficult, just because the funnel has to bend. And the way I've written the logic for this is, it all... let's see if I can jump out here, I can show with this. It's all designed to rotate around like a vertical axis like this. So if I have an elephant trunk, I'd have to offset the rotation based on something like this, which is doable. It just means I need to update the logic, and there's more strain on the hardware because it's got to perform more calculations. So it's not impossible. For now, I'm kind of focusing on the classic like wedge, stovepipe, rope, until I can figure out how to offset the center of rotation with height. Let's go collect our probe, see if we can find an anomaly. Yes, one. First one on stream, there we go. 1 in 1,000 chance of that happening. So what I'll have eventually is like a little bar along here showing where you are to. So here you'll be like a new starter in academia, and over here will be professor with different notches in between, and then you can see your progress. Right. That thing is huge. Plus I've updated the VHS effect since the last time at the game. I think it looks a lot more VHS-like. I'm trying to get the probe. Any controller? Yes, so that is something I've been putting off. It is very faffy to add, but it's definitely worth it. So yeah, we'll be adding controller compatibility back. So the first game had is technically partial controller support, but you could pretty much play the game without having to use the mouse at all, the controller. Am I driving back into the tornado? I think I am. I'm getting dragged around here. I think it's changed direction. Let's just reverse. But yeah, we do want to add controller support. So like, initially it'd be like the Xbox style controller, like your traditional like A, B, X, Y, left, right triggers, etc. But I do know there's been a few requests to support steering wheels, so I do have a Logitech steering wheel which I can test with. So eventually, if you want, you could drive with like pedals and a steering wheel. Just the first person view will be a bit difficult. You'll probably have to use like the D-pad or something if your steering wheel has one. Yeah, but if you look at this with the VHS effect, this could be like a 90s tornado documentary. So I haven't thought of a customizable radio. So music, I did get some free, well I say free, I bought an asset which has like ambient sound effects like birds tweeting and things, but it also came with some epic music, so that's what you hear in the 2023 version of the game when you loaded it. Is the sort of like the orchestral epic sounding music. So I thought it very much fit the theme of like the Twister style music from the movie. And there is an official playlist for the game. Obviously, I mean official is in like, officially I'm the developer of the game and I've chosen some music. The artists in the playlist aren't involved with the game at all. But if you look on the Discord updates, or if you search on Spotify for Tornado Research and Rescue, there is an official playlist. And I've kind of structured it so that it takes you through the season. So it starts off in winter, songs about winter. It's like I Am a Rock by Simon and Garfunkel. And then it takes you through to spring, and then kind of the things you do, so like songs about highways and visiting different small towns. So eventually get some more specific songs about tornadoes and storms. So that's what I've done. I am completely turned around here. I need to get down here. But yeah, there will be like some music like in the main menu and things. Hopefully I add more ambient sound effects as well. So you just have like birds tweeting and stuff when the sky's clear. Right. I'm just going to point straight at the probe because we're going to end up too far behind these to do anything. Oh, it's about to go off the map anyway. So, see the cycloidal marks there. They look cool. Oh yeah, that's another feature I want to add as well. So it'll do ground scouring, so wherever you have F4, F5 strength, it'll change the ground textures and like strip the vegetation away. One thing I need to add as well is a feature to toggle these tracks on and off, because it's getting really hard to see the map once several tornadoes have moved across it. Can storms recycle? Yes, they can. So as they move across the... So let's zoom out here. So as they move across the map, if it moves into a weak area, the tornado can rope out and spawn again. Even in an area, even in a strong area, the tornado can go against the trend. So the trend is, in a strong environment, tornadoes should intensify. It can go against the trend for a while and rope out, and then come back again stronger. So that can happen. We're getting to sunset again. Let's get the probe before it gets too dark and difficult to find it. Which direction am I heading? Right. Turn right. I need to head this way. Did we get any more data? No. So we've got one anomaly. $4,000 cash. Because one thing that's useful as well is how long have I been streaming for? Is I want to get an idea of pacing. So how much would players earn on average in an hour? And then I can price the upgrades based on that. So I'd say like, this upgrade should take 30 minutes to unlock, this one should take, is a big one, this should take 4 hours to unlock it, etc. And of course you can always get really lucky, and it may be quicker than that, you may be really unlucky and it takes longer than that. But we've got a new cell going up in front of us. So, one thing I'm noticing, right, let me just, right. So if I'm in the external camera when I exit the vehicle, look, it's fine. Now let me go to the internal camera and exit the vehicle. Yeah, now it's all inverted. It's something to do with being in the internal camera and exiting, I think. Let me check that again. This is meant to be large and clunky, just like the real thing. This is based on Toto. Let's pull that tailgate down. Can you get in there? Let's try that again. Yeah, so it's inverted. Let's go to the external camera and exit. Oh no, no. So that was a red herring. That's just me reading into things which aren't there. Right. Reflectivity. Where are the storms? One all the way down here. That's probably a better one to go after. Velocity. Let's have a look. It's not put anything down yet. So maybe we should head south towards that. Where am I right now? All the way up here. Right, let's just find a south road. Let's try and get on here. Where did I want to be? Here, right. So I want to take this left coming up. So it's not that left, it'll be the next left. This one. Also, another feature is let people design. So already you can design a custom map if you want, but let people save and share them and load them. So you don't have to design a new map. Because right now there's no way to save a map, so if you spend time designing one, you get to play it once and that's it. So saving and loading maps and sharing them on Steam Workshop. thing I've noticed, the stream looks a bit more jittery than the game. The game's actually really smooth, but it looks like on the stream it's a bit more jumpy. You need to look into that because it's making the game look more laggy than it actually is. Again, at least on my hardware, I've got RTX 4070. Like, this is running smooth as butter, even with 2 tornadoes on the map. Right, looks like there's already... Right, let's turn reflect. Let's see velocity. Oh yeah, look at that couplet. Turn that off. So it's there. That's the tornado there. Yeah, this is going to be hard to catch up to. We can see the tornado there. But if it's moving that direction, it's probably going to go... Is that the one? Yeah. It's probably going to go straight off the map. Okay, so we'll take the second right. So not this one. When do you think this update will be released? For this version of the game, well, I need to figure out what's going on with this. It's been a repeated issue of the controls inverting when you exit the vehicle. Once I fix that, hopefully today, I can get an update for this out tonight. Like, as in the next... So the next couple of hours. What I was hoping to do is what I usually do is I do a playtest live stream before I push the update if I can. So the idea was to playtest it, hopefully that issue was resolved and I would run the update immediately after this. But it looks like I've still got some work to do. Right. That's heading that way. Let's just keep head... Yeah, actually, if this road goes all the way through, we can get ahead of that tornado. We'll get ourselves right in the path of it. So look, we've got a nice straight road all the way, so we should be intercepting in the next few minutes. Another feature, a lot of people have asked for drones, so since I've already figured out how to have an external camera on the probe, it's easy enough to do that exact same thing again, just on a probe, which you can control. Maybe not with buttons, so you'll probably use the keyboard keys for the drone, because it's fine using buttons. And you go off-road a little bit. It's fine using buttons just to pan and tilt the camera, but to control a drone, that won't be practical. So yeah, we have a drone in the game. Not soon, but like I say, in the next 2-3 months, I want to try and have at least a version of everything I want to eventually have completely polished. So in the final version, so in the next 2 or 3 months, I want to have at least an implementation of everything that'll be in the final, fully polished, released version of the game. Oh look, it's turning, because it's good. We don't want it to go off the map, because then it'll recycle. So if we position ourselves along here somewhere, here comes the road. Oh, there's another tornado behind it by the looks of it. Is it this one? You watch where I'm going. Stay on the road. Little Cow came to Silver and Storm Chasers version 1.0. Yeah, he's been working on that for a while. To be fair, he took a break from updating the game, and I thought that it got abandoned, which is why I started making this game originally. So if he hadn't have done that, I probably wouldn't have made this. But yeah, I do like the original Storm Chasers game. That was the only storm chasing game on all of Steam. It's a lot of fun, so yeah, maybe I'll do a Storm Chasers stream at some point, but right now my efforts primarily on this game and getting a good release candidate out by spring. So what we need to do is follow this on the map. Try and predict. I don't know if it's worth trying to quickly go along here, down and across, and then deploy. I don't think we're going to have time for that. It's on the other side of the cornfield. What we can do is use the real life tactics. So if I place the reticle right at the edge of there, we can see if the movement's left or right relative to that. And we know if we're exactly in the path. So it seems like we've got ourselves bang on where we need to be. If you kind of extrapolate from here up to here, right now we look like we're right in the path. Okay, let's try and keep that there. Is it weakening at all? Let's say it might be slightly weakening. That's okay. It's going to hit this pocket of stronger instability and shear right before it gets it. It's going to move. It's going to move into a strong environment, intensify the move to a weaker environment. Hopefully, we can still get some samples before it weakens. One thing I need to do as well, as I've noticed, when you open this, I need to stop the other camera from moving around. I think we're right now in a perfect spot for an intercept. Should we see what it looks like on radar? Yeah, that thing is strong. There's another tornado down here, you can see. Will some systems be able to merge? I did just have that idea before when the two tornadoes kind of cross paths. But I'm trying to think how I'd implement that. So every tornado is in its own volume, so you might just an invisible cube, and you can add density, so cloud, to it, and you can add wind forces inside of it, and that's all simulated like a real fluid, and that's what gives you the tornado effect. And they're completely separate. There's no way to make them interact. What I'd have to do is one tornado would kind of have to be like the magnet, and the other tornado would have to be pulled towards it. And then once within a certain distance, one would have to fade out and essentially be despawned, and then send like a signal to the other simulation volume to like get stronger or do something. But I think that might be adding way too much complexity to it. At the end of the day, people need to be able to play this on. You don't have to have a small supercomputer just to play the game. I think we need to head a touch west, just a little bit. There, directly there. So let's get Toto. And get out of here. And then I'll open up the probe camera and we can watch it approach. So let's do that. One idea I have had in terms of how storm systems could interact is right now the Cape and Helicity stay constant throughout the entire scenario. What I could do is tornadoes could kind of consume it, like the Cape and Helicity in that area. So if another storm moves through the same area, just like in real life, the air stabilizes and there's less instability and shear available for the next tornado to move through. Let's keep an eye on the probe camera. Yeah, it looks like it's about to be hit dead on. Got 115-mile-an-hour winds in there. So again, F2 strength, does that correlate with what we see on the radar? That's the question. Yeah, so I think blue is F1, so then this will be F2. So it was F3, it was F4, then dropped to F3 and F2 right when it got to our probe. So let's take a look at the environment it's moving into. So, yeah, it is a slightly weaker environment. Let's go. That's cool. Let's scan our data, see if we can get another anomaly. Only $47 for that. That's a lot of effort for only $47. I've just had one AirPod go off, run out of battery, so let me know if anything goes wrong with the audio. Oh, I'm not using the AirPods for the audio, so yeah, it shouldn't affect anything. Right, let's go collect the probe, go for another intercept. There it is. Look at the motion in that. If I get some grass in the way there, VHS effect, I could post that on one of those tornado subreddits and just be like, what can you tell me about this historic tornado from sometime in the 90s? See if people even realise it's a game. Oh, we've got another tornado coming this way. Alright, controls are inverted. Right, left is forwards. Now change directions, and now down is forwards. And now forwards is forwards, yeah. You're out of the way. Lift, and get you in there. There we go. I think we're set up for an intercept with that. Let's just find it on the map first. Is this it? Ah, it's going to go off the map, isn't it? Right, if we head west, that's east. If we head west, we might still be able to get some data before it goes off the map. So I think if we go for an intercept, maybe along here, well, we do have enough time and we're going fast enough. Can make the precipitation react to wind. I have to look, so I didn't create the precipitation effects. These are part of a asset I bought on Unity, which takes care of like some of the clouds, some of the precipitation and the lighting. But I could possibly modify it so that like it makes sense that it would blow either towards or tangential to the tornado. And as the wind gets stronger, the precipitation is more turbulent. I'll have to see how the other developer implemented it and see if I can customize it. One thing you notice as well is that vegetation keeps disappearing. I need to find a better engine for rendering vegetation because it keeps doing this. I'm using Unity 6 and it's not officially supported. And what I don't want to do is risk shelling out for the updated version and then for it to also have the same issue. Because the developer doesn't offer any support for it unless you pay for like a huge like commercial license, which this game isn't really at that scale. We used to be talking like AAA style budgets for that sort of support. So I'm kind of worried to buy something with a known issue that the developer doesn't even offer support for. I don't know why the camera is twisted. Oh, it looks like this whole thing is off center for some reason. Right, I think it's time to go. Right, let's just turn the view towards the tornado. Where's the tornado? There it is. Yeah, so there's something going on with cameras and rotations in the game, and I want to get that fixed before I push an update. Right, let's put that full screen. There'll be more probes. I was thinking of adding, so there was another knockoff tornado film in the 90s called, I think it was just called Tornado. And so Twist has Dorothy, Tornado had, I think it's Betty or something like that. I was thinking of adding Betty into it. This looks like it's going to be a... Oh no, it's close, but not quite. Did we get any data from that? No. Oh, that's a shame. Alright, let's go collect it, get in front of it again. It's really weak, should just drive through it. It doesn't look that strong. Let's get an idea of what strength it is. 70, 80, 90, 165? Oh, so 165, what's that? F2? F2 strength? I need to turn around again, that pushed me away from the probe. There it is. So at least it's turning into the map, so if it doesn't go off the side of the map. I wonder if it's tilted because I accidentally crashed into it before. Because I did actually freeze the Y rotation. I don't think I froze the X rotation, so yeah. If I need to add that to the to fix list. See, is this moving into a better environment now? So let's have a look at K. It's more Cape all the way up here. What about Helicity? Yeah, it's moving into a weaker environment for now. This is something else. Trying to see if there's anything else to chase, since this is going to probably weaken and it's really close to the edge of the map. But let's go for it, let's go for it. Where's the road? Will they be able to die? So I'm debating about that. It seemed to be a cause of massive frustration with the last game. There's a lot of people who would off-road and die and get extremely frustrated. What I'm thinking is maybe some sort of, you get injured and it takes some money off, or delete some of your samples or something like that. So there's a consequence for being careless, but it doesn't completely end your chase, because I think that's, I don't know, a bit too punishing. I'm not sure though. I haven't polled the community to find out what people want yet. And an interceptor. So I'd need a 3D model of one, and it would have to be different enough from like the TIV and the Dominator so that I don't run into trademark or copyright or any other number of potential legal issues. So I think this junction here. Eventually I do want to add mod support as well, so the original game had mod support so you could add custom vehicles. I do want that for this as well, but it does add a lot of complexity, so I'm not sure how long that'll take. Did I pick up the probe? Where is it? Oh, I thought I picked it up. Did I forget to put it in the truck? Or did it fall out? Right. Let's just casually drive through this tornado again. I thought I picked it up. Sorry about that, we're going to have to drive away again. Pick it up properly. I thought I picked it up and put it in the truck. Did I get distracted talking and then just drive off without actually collecting it? I do kind of feel like there needs to be maybe multiple probes. Just because when things are fast paced, it slows the game down quite a bit, having to then go back and collect the probe again. Kind of like Storm Chasers, how you had 3 probes you could place before you then had to go collect them. I might do something like that. Or make it something upgradable, so you start off only being able to deploy 1 probe, and then you can get up to 3 or maybe 5. And there it is. I thought I picked this up. Right. Click and drag. over here. Right, don't fall out this time. Right, okay, we've got it this time. This is risking going off the edge of the map. Where's the other one? Is the other one about to go off the edge of the map? Yeah, I don't know if it's worth staying in the bottom left quadrant, because that's where everything actually spawns in the game. Yeah, look, it's lifting up. So we're going to see its cycle here. Oh, no, it's planting down again. What is your attention span? Severely impaired. There's a massive wedge there. Maybe we should have stayed on the northernmost cell. It's been quite an eventful day on this map. Right, let's try and get on the road. I might be able to just about get ahead of it. Right, so we just need to race it across this cornfield. What I could do as well to guarantee samples is just to drive into it. That's another way. Let's just collect a ton of data by planting ourselves in the middle and just keeping up with it. I don't think it's strong enough to be a real hazard. Oh wait, no, it's lifting me up. No, it's only 130 mile an hour winds, so they're not that dangerous. It's getting a bit stronger now, 160. Is that F3 strength? So let's just stay in it, just collect as much data as we can. It's getting stronger, 177 miles an hour now. Zoom in a bit. $180, this thing's getting strong actually. So I guess this would be classed as farming, just farming samples, just by purposely driving into the tornado for now. Which is why there needs to be a consequence for getting slammed into the ground. Which is why I think maybe you lose anywhere between like a third and a half of your samples or something each time you get smashed into the ground or into something. See if we keep an eye on the data page. We're still collecting data. See if we can cash out what's this all worth. $38? Not bad. I think this is about to go off the map. I think once this goes off the map and spawns out, I think I'll end the stream there. Because I've kind of taken to just driving through the tornado repeatedly. But if I have a look, let's see how long was the stream. About an hour. So in an hour, I managed to earn about $4,500. Oh, and found 2 anomalies. Okay, cool. I think we just found one there. So I can use that for some pacing for the game, so I can price the upgrades accordingly. So assume like the lower end, maybe $300 a minute. Is that even right? I don't even think that's right. That'll be, say, around $300 every 10 minutes. So, yeah, about $30 a minute. Thereabouts, on average. Yeah, it's starting to lift. Let's just have a look at it as it ropes out. That one's still going strong. Yeah, looks like it's roping out now. Yes, I think I'll end the stream here. Thank you everybody who's tuned in and asked questions and commented. I really appreciate the interaction. I'll work on this controller inversion issue a bit more and hopefully get an update out tonight, assuming I figure it out. But yeah, thank you very much. I'm signing off now.